afternoon, I'll be again discussing in more detail the topic of grounding or earthing.
So let's start by discussing what we're going to cover in today's video.
Yes, now, Mum, my interest really began with this journal, Time journal, which appeared in 2004, because that gave a very detailed aspect of this subject. It says the secret killer, the surprising link between inflammation and heart attacks, cancer, Alzheimer's and others. What you can do to fight it. Then, based on that, I did some research and came across these articles, which I am going to read to you all, the more interesting ones. Inflammation, root cause of all chronic illnesses. Chronic inflammation rocking the medical world, that appeared in Health Matters Fall 2004. Inflammation is an unsuspected component of a number of diseases, so says Professor Andrew Lloyd, University of New South Wales. Professor Emad El Omar, University of Aberdeen, says in an article in The Scientist, July 14, 2003, I personally believe that chronic inflammation is the root of all evil. Then another article, fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome. First thought it was all in your head. Now they have identified that chronic inflammation to be the culprit. Rheumatology 2001. Scientific evidence to show the link between chronic inflammation and illnesses. A low-grade inflammation predicts incidence of type 2 diabetes mellitus. Elevated CRP and IL-6 predicts the development of type 2 diabetes mellitus. It appeared in Journal of American Medical Association, July 2011, and Diabetes, July 2003. People with high levels of CRP, C-reactive protein, is an indicator of inflammation, where you measure the level of inflammation in the body, were almost 3 times as likely to die from a heart attack, regardless of their cholesterol levels. So they are now showing that more important than the cholesterol level, it is the inflammation inside the body which is responsible. That was said by Ridka et al., New England Journal of Medicine, way back in 1997. Then also, cardiologist Dr. Ridka found that about half of all heart attacks occurred among patients with normal cholesterol levels, and that there was something else causing the atheromatous plaque to burst, leading to a heart attack. In the 1990s, he became convinced that something was chronic inflammation. Then they say, instead of different treatments for, say, heart disease, Alzheimer's and colon cancer, there might be a single inflammation-reducing remedy that would prevent all three. Now here comes grounding or earthing as the single inflammation-reducing remedy, as seen by many, including me, which was of course discovered by Mr. Clinton Over in the 1990s.
One interesting aspect of grounding is how it affects different organs of the body. Could you explain to us how grounding influences these organs and what benefit it brings?
Yeah. I have presented all those in this picture, and this is based on already done scientific studies. So I will take one by one. One calms the brain, amygdala. Amygdala, those are the two portions in the brain which, when it's stimulated, it leads to stress and also the production of cortisol. So when you ground yourself, you become calm. You see, now in this picture, I have shown how a person who is in a stressful situation, because in the brain there are alpha, beta, theta, delta and gamma waves. They go from to another. During stress, it is the beta waves which are dominant, and also you find the cortisol levels increase. So now you can see this person actually he is not running, but he is stationary, but his internal organs are working as if he is running. So he is breathing faster, heart rate is rapid, blood sugar level is increased, then also respiration also increased. Now with earthing or grounding, you get the alpha waves coming into the picture. You can see in this, which calms the person. So all the internal organs get slowed down. So, and also the anti-stress nervous system, which is the vagus nerve, takes over. Then it increases the memory and creativity because it improves the blood supply to the brain, especially the hippocampus. Then another thing is that the blood becomes thin. Now in this picture is a person, say, who is under stress. The blood vessel is it is narrow, and also the red cells are clumping to one another. But the moment you ground, these dilate, the vessels dilate, and also the red cells repel each other because the negative electrons from the earth come to the surface of the red cells. So when two negatives are together, they can't be together, they get repelled. So that is why you can see that the red cells are dispersed. So the blood becomes thin. As Dr. Stephen Sinatra says, the blood which was like tomato ketchup becomes like red wine. Now that is a very, very important change which occurs with grounding. And also now you can see that the workload for the heart will be much less, because now it has to pump the blood through a wider or vessels which are dilated, and the blood is not thick. It's like water, like red wine. So the workload on the blood, the heart is less, so obviously the blood pressure will also come down. Another thing which happens is what's called the heart rate variability. Now, in unhealthy people, if you look at these gaps between the beats, it's different. It varies from one beat to another. Now that is called heart rate variability, which is very healthy for the heart. It is very healthy. So that is another thing which happens. And again in this one, I have mentioned about the immediate changes that take place in the body with grounding, and which has been scientifically proven. So I mentioned about the brain waves, alpha waves, so it's most relaxing. Even in meditation you get alpha waves, so there's a decrease in the cortisol level and also increase in the heart rate variability, thinning of blood because of the zeta potential, and vasodilatation. And then they say the best electron donor surface is the surface of Earth, which has an unlimited, abundant source of free electrons, right? The storehouse of accessible electrons, which is right beneath our feet. Then also in this, I have, coming back to this picture, reduce muscle pain and damage. Then also the blood sugar levels better control. I will present to you my data. Then also it has an effect on cramps. Some people suffer with cramps. It has, it regulates, or cramps are overcome. Then also hormonal rhythm is set back to normal. Then also even hypothyroid patients, they have found they become normal thyroid functioning after this. Then also inflammation in joints and are reduced. Then also enhances the wound healing. Now this may be because the blood supply is better, because the thinning of the blood and also the vasodilation of the blood. And also if you have an infection in anywhere in the body, and if you are on antibiotic, now the antibiotic has to get into this wound. But if you, for it to get into the wound, the blood has to go there. So now here with the dilatation of the blood vessels and also blood becoming thinner, it can easily get into the body voltage. Now we are surrounded by electrical equipment, then also Wi-Fi, computers, laptops, printers, etc. Now they took 12 people who were exposed to this environment and checked their body voltage, and the body voltage was the average for 12 was 3.27 volts, which is very high, you see. Now this type of voltage build up causes irritability, they can't concentrate, they can't sleep properly at night, etc. Now all these 12 people were they were grounded. That means they had to keep one foot on a grounding plane, and immediately the body voltage dropped from 3.27 to 0.007. That was a 467 fold drop in the body voltage. Now just imagine that just by touching the grounding plate, the body voltage dropped. So that is a very important thing to remember in grounding, because your concentration, your sleep, irritability, all those improve actually with grounding. Then also I will discuss later when I do my case studies. I'll be discussing on the different organ and systems of the body.
It would be great if you could share your personal experience with grounding. Have you tried it yourself? If so, how has it impacted you?
Yes, I started, I think, around 2014, and immediate benefits I got was I got a good night's sleep. And also, even if I get up in the night, earlier, I mean, you are just rolling on your bed without falling asleep again, but now, after that, I fall asleep. Even if I get up in the night, I fall asleep quickly. Then also I had been suffering from cramps in my legs for many years. After I started using grounding, or practice grounding, the cramps have disappeared. Then also, without dieting or exercise, my waist size reduced. That also is a benefit I got through grounding. Then also I am on oral hypoglycemics and oral hypertensive drugs. Both the dosages could be reduced after I started grounding. Another very important thing is always I used to get cuts and bruises on my hands and feet. And earlier I had to apply various antiseptic creams, etc. And also it used to take a lot of time for it to heal. But now, it just, even without any antiseptic cream or anything like that, it heals very quickly. So that was another important benefit I got through grounding. Yes, actually, first was my sister. She's 72 years. She had been having a backache for 4 years, and she had been on and off treatment, both Western and Ayurvedic, but it kept on recurring. So she called me and she used to complain about this backache. So I made a grounding equipment and posted it to her. And commencing 8th of May 2022, she had been sleeping on this plate. And within a short period of time, she managed to overcome her backache, which was of 4 years duration. So that was a very important point. Then also she happened to be a hypertensive for past 8 years, and the doctor attending on her said, now your pressure has come down, and he reduced the dosage of the drug from what she was taking every morning, 10 milligrams to 5 milligrams. Then also she told me that since she started to sleep grounded, she is getting a very good quality sleep. Now this is the one, this motivated me that I should carry on with this topic, study in more detail.
Here you mentioned 3 special cases that have demonstrated numerous positive effects on grounding. Would you mind elaborating on the subject?
Yes, actually these 3 cases showed many aspects, many benefits from grounding. One is a 70-year-old female. She had poor sleep, and also she had severe pain in her thumb joints, which was about 3 to 4 years duration, and she could not use her hands in the mornings. Then she had pain in her heels, which made it difficult for her to climb steps. Then another important thing, she had been having sinusitis for the past 7 years, and because it was so intense and it was not settling, she had forced her dental surgeon to extract 2 teeth also. Even that did not improve. Then also she was having high blood pressure and also having gastritis on and off for many years. Now she commenced sleeping grounded on 3rd September 22. Gradually all these issues have been resolved, and she is so happy now because all these things have been resolved. Then also she finds that her improvement in her memory. She says that now writing poems both in English and Sinhala has become easier and quicker. And also her friends find her poems to be more creative than earlier. So that's another benefit she is acquired. Then also she says solving Sudoku and crossword puzzles used to take hours and hours earlier, but now after she started sleeping grounded, within 15 minutes or so she can do all these puzzles, solve these puzzles. Then another interesting case is a 73-year-old male who had been suffering from cervical spondylosis for 35 years. He had imbalance and cerebral insufficiency. Then also he had loss of smell for the past 3 to 4 years and also poor sleep. He started sleeping grounded on 18th of December 22. Now, in fact, he says that he had even stopped the painkillers he was taking for his cervical spondylosis. Then also he says his imbalance and cerebral insufficiency has disappeared. Then also he says he has got back his smell, which he did not have for 4 years. Then he says his sleep improved. And also he says that his friends have said that he looks younger because the facial wrinkles have become less since he started sleeping grounded. Third star case actually is a 64-year-old female. She is a niece of mine. She is living in Canada. Had been suffering from severe body aches and pains for the past 30 years. I mean, more like fibromyalgia. Also her sleep and had been poor all the time. Then she also developed an eczematous rash on both sides of her face and acne 2 weeks after the third vaccine taken, the booster vaccine taken in January 2021. After watching my YouTube program on grounding, which I did in Sinhala on 7th October 23, she had started to walk on the beach first 20 minutes every other day and now 30 minutes daily. And now these are the results she reported. Quality of sleep has improved. I now have more energy during the daytime. Then she says aches and pains got worse during the first 2 weeks of grounding but have been decreasing each day. My muscles were super tight like rope but are becoming more flexible now. Then also she says, I struggle with facial eczema and acne, which developed 2 weeks after the third COVID booster, taken in January 2021. Couldn't seem to get rid of it despite trying numerous remedies. 3 weeks of grounding and it is 90% cleared. In 2019, while in Sri Lanka, I suddenly developed hyperpigmentation, age spots on both cheeks. They too seem to be fading away. So actually you can see the immense benefits she also had. She had watched my program on YouTube and she has been walking on the beach and getting herself grounded.